Hi there. Welcome to the Right Here, Right Now live show. This show has one simple question. What's on your heart and mind right here, right now in this moment? We explore the depths and breadths of our humanity through that one simple question over the course of 30 to 45 minutes. I hope that you'll join us. I hope you'll enjoy the exploration. And this tune was created for me personally by the incredible Peter Griffiths, one half of the amazing Mind Takeaway. Do let us know what you think. Let us know what you take away. And of course, we always welcome challenges too. Hope to see you on the exploration. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Look who I have got. Finally, I've tracked down Jo Wright after being connected forever. Hello, Jo. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Gary. Thank you for having me on. I'm so thrilled to be here. This is like live in the moment. Not really knowing where we're going to go is very fun for a Monday, for sure.
Well, thank you for being open to join me. I'm really, really excited. Like I say, to learn a bit more about you. Of course, I've followed your work for a while now. But as we get going, would you mind letting the viewers watch, whoever's watching this live or maybe watches this back on recording, really, really small existential comment. Who is Jo Wright and what are you doing?
Who is Jo Wright? I am one of the co-founders of Coaching Culture, and we are a coaching solutions provider. We've been around for 4.5 years now, from startup, moving quickly and vastly into scale up. So digital solutions as well as face-to-face. So it's blended solutions. We predominantly started with digital, and people have said, no, we need more. So we're providing more and more solutions. So I am on probably the most exciting journey of my career, at the very near age of 50, but in about 4 weeks. So yeah, it's like, yeah, that's who I am. That's me in terms of career, who I am right here, right now. That's who Jo is. Obviously, there's 50 years that have gone before that.
That's beautiful. And please do check out Jo's details below. You can see it running across the bottom of the screen. You've already got one of your super fans here. It looks like you've got Susie. Thanks for joining us.
Susie. Susie's listening.
And you also got Joel as well. Hi, Joel. Thanks for joining us.
Brilliant.
So you've given a bit of an introduction. I would love right now, the big question's coming, that really tiny little baby one. What is on your heart and mind right here, right now, in this moment, Jo?
Oh, honestly, Gary, that question has really got me thinking. I feel like I've got so much going on, both in my heart and on my mind at all times. I think the biggest thing at the moment, and there are so many things, but I think the biggest thing is, how do we all collectively make the workplace a better place to be? How do we have great experiences as employees, and how we as leaders orchestrate that? How do we untap the potential in so many humans in the workplace? Because we spend so much time at work. How do we get the best out of that experience? And I think they're the things that are on my mind. I hear so many words all the time at the moment, but the one that keeps coming back to me is, how do we be more human? I've recently interviewed a fabulous author on our podcast, Casper Craven, and his book is called Be More Human, and it kind of is that in a nutshell. How do we harness that day in, day out when we're at work? Because what a great place to really explore who we are as human beings, but get that through our experiences at work. And how do we make work more fun because of it? So many things there thrown all into that, big heart,
Beautiful.
big mind.
I love it. I'm just sitting here weaving it all together, and I've got to come. I'm going to go in loads of directions. But first of all, some more acknowledgement. Hi, Rob. Says hi, Jo, Gary.
Hey, Rob.
And also the lovely Marie Smith. Thanks for joining us, Marie.
Fabulous.
So you've got quite a few of your fans here today, which is wonderful to see. Now, I'm really interested. So for those that may not know me with this show, so I actually work in corporate still, which surprises a lot of people. I work in the chemicals industry. Don't shoot me. But I'm finding that part about being human, for me personally, Jo, and I'd love to explore this with you, with what you just shared, is so much of our systems, whatever you call it, whether it's a workplace system or otherwise, they're not really designed for that whole human being with an open heart and an open mind to show up. Not that I'm experiencing, and I'm in it still. So I'm sort of that internal disruptor. And I'm wondering, what's the gap between that, the work you're doing brilliantly to try and create those conditions to allow that to happen, But what are the blockages still, in your opinion, that maybe stop that happening? Maybe that's a little place to start with at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. What are the blockages? I think we're currently in a time where we've got a whole lot of legacy leadership styles, the way organizations are, like you said, designed and structured. Actually, it's like, how can we move with the times? Let's start creating those fabulous environments that are going to not only stand us in fine stead today, but tomorrow and the future. So I think we're sort of sat on a fabulous opportunity and moment in time that we can all together make some sort of history. And don't get me wrong, you know, the not so very small thing as a global pandemic has definitely helped that recognition. But I think we're changing times. We've got to, you know, so much is moving forward. Technology, the way people live their lives, the way that people are connecting with their own personal values. Workplaces have got to acknowledge that and accommodate that. And all those things together are like beautiful pieces of a jigsaw that we can do something about. It's in all of our gifts to do something about in our everyday interactions, the system that we're operating within, how it's designed. I think all of that together can move forward, and let's make our organizations somewhere that we want our children to work for, that we're proud for them to go and work in and experience. And for me, this is that moment in time. We're there now. We've been bubbling towards it for a number of years, but I think, you know, you'll hear me using the words now more than ever, but then so many other people say now more than ever, but it is now more than ever. This is that time. And it's so exciting to be part of it and to feel that we're all working together, doing good for the organizations, for our teams, for our employees, and shaping what is required. So for me, this is the time to unblock the blockers. Let's look at our leadership styles. Let's look at how our organizations are structured. And there's definitely things happening in that space at the moment. People are looking at, you know, some are even getting rid of management layers and they're becoming self-managing organizations. There's loads of different things that are happening. Let's start looking at those things and what's getting in the way, and stop it. And for me, let's focus on those leadership styles, those fabulous conversations, and start acknowledging that we are allowed to be human, that actually we're not different people who walk in the kind of work. We've got things going on at home as well, and that makes us who we are, and that makes us our human selves. So much we could go on this. You know, I'm conscious of our time, and I think that's why I think I'm talking like extra fast to get it all out.
It's amazing, and it's so beautiful. And like, because when I weave what you've just shared for me together, there's just so much potentiality in every single one of us, right? Yeah. And it's just literally, and this blocker bit keeps coming up for me, Jo, because how conscious are we of Jo in the corner who hasn't spoken up in the last 6 months, or maybe Bob who actually got this great idea but he doesn't feel he can speak up for whatever reason? Like, how intentional really are we in the workplace? And how actually does your great work at a coaching culture support people? So I look at it from the extremities, like, how do we get the voices and the people that we don't often hear from into the center, rather than just hearing those few that have the power already dictating from the middle out? So I try and get away from the top down to more circular. And I'm wondering what your thoughts might be around that, Jo.
Yeah, I think it is about unlocking the power of teams. I think it's about, there's a huge responsibility on leaders and managers at whatever level they may be in the organization, because I think everybody's got their own leadership role to play, and acknowledging that every person in their team has got more potential. They can be more, not do more. It's not a do more, because there's probably not more of that to be done. It's about being more, thinking differently, feeling differently, having self-confidence. As soon as you start untapping tapping into somebody's lack of confidence or their limiting beliefs, and you start recognizing that actually they just needed this support, that support, you know, as a leader and a manager, what can I do to help my team be the best they can be? And I think it's about acknowledging that we've all got a responsibility and a privilege to do that. And it's in for all of us to do. And if somebody feels that actually I'm not enjoying this job, or I'm not enjoying this culture, then that's fine as well. That's fine as well. We're not all going to be fit perfectly into every organization, but we have all got the potential within us to be more than we are this very morning. and it's work. It's giving leaders and managers the absolute opportunity to have the skills and the tools and the right focus and their mindset on how they get the best out of their teams. And I just think there's so much opportunity and I think that if more and more people recognize that, people will flourish. They will flourish. At Coaching Culture, we've got a phrase about what is a coaching culture. And we talk about it being authentic leaders and managers helping people to grow, thrive, and perform through effective conversations, honest feedback, which is a massive one, underpinned by trust. Get those conditions right, you're not going to go far wrong.
Jo, what I love is that immediately, I'm getting reaction, just so you know, like anyone that knows me, I'm a little bit more of a spiritual being than I was 5 years ago, and like my back of my neck is just going vibrating like crazy. And I tell you why, because what did hit me, those 3 principles you just shared, flip them around, and they are the 3 critical blockers. Like if someone actually looks at what the opposite of what does mistrust look like?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, how often do we actually look at that? Like, what does mistrust? So instead of just being happy clappy, okay, focus on A, B, and C. What's the opposite look like? What's that shadow side of that particular behavior?
Yeah.
So I think there's so much value if we go there sometimes.
And I think the word honest feedback, I think knowing how to build trust in an organization amongst teams unlocks way more than purely just focusing on out and out numbers, performance. We have a phrase, a culture of trust builds high performance, not the other way around. And it's about building those trusting relationships, because once you've got trust, you've got everything. And we want to also be known for how we help people and organizations build trust, because coaching is one of those fabulous conversation types that helps build trust. And people speak to me about, there are no silver bullets. And I always say, well, actually there are. Coaching is the silver bullet. The ability to build rapport, show empathy, build trust, unlock potential in others. Who can argue that that's not a silver bullet?
And who doesn't want to be involved in that, right? Like,
exactly.
who would not want that energy in their life? I want to hold space. You've gotten quite a few comments here, Jo. You're really getting some people going. So, and I think this is lovely. Maybe you want to speak to Joel sharing. I can tell you that what I learned from your content, Jo, had a wonderful success with my team. What wonderful, wonderful comment.
Thank you, Joel. That's like I've already got a big smile on my face today, but that is just like. So when my jawbone starts aching, that always smiling, that that I've got, yes, that's exactly what it's about. It is about that. It's about getting the message out to more and more people about how coaching conversations, and we're not talking about making it a dark art or anything rocket science. It's literally, how can we ask more questions, listen more, build rapport, give feedback, all the wonderful things. And it's not always easy. This isn't about, oh, this is easy. No, it's not, but actually it's worth it. So actually stick at it.
Oh, I love that I've got a little hashtag quote there. It's not easy, but it's worth it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Marie, Bob Chapman from Barry Waymiller, treat your teams as family members. Now, some people will challenge that, but I want to come back to what you said earlier and weave that back in. When you opened up your introduction, you spoke about, and this really hit me hard, like, do we think consciously enough about the conditions we're leaving behind for the next generation or the generation after that? You said about, I want to build places where my kids would be happy to go and work.
Yeah.
I want to just hold space for that a second. When I look around in my industry, the chemicals industry, one of the most extractive on the planet, I can tell you there's very well-meaning people not thinking about the impact of that product on the planet, right?
Right.
And then you look at the same thing within any work context. What are those behaviors? What are we actually doing that is either supporting that vision you shared, or actually degrading it or degenerating that environment? And I just wonder, how often do we really create the space to reflect on, is this somewhere I want my kids to come and work? I just think if you ask any CEO that question, in fact, let me ask you a question, Jo. How often does that question even get asked of a CEO when you're trying to sort of sense check where somebody's at with their readiness to go and do coaching? That's probably a great question to ask, I would think.
Yeah, do you know what? I think the fabulous thing is, and we're not all there yet, but I think the fabulous thing is more CEOs, more senior leadership teams are starting to think like that. What legacy are we leaving here, but also what are we creating, and how do we best do that? And I'd love to be able to go back to that comment that was just made there by Bob about actually treating people like your family and truly caring. I think once you really do care about the people around you who you work with and for, and all of the great things in a team and an organizational system, but genuinely care, I just think you unlock so much more, and it becomes a win-win all round. So I think more and more organizations and CEOs are starting to think like that. But don't get me wrong, I'm not still sat here thinking, I'm under no illusion that the numbers today don't always, aren't important. But I think there's more and more organizations now looking at people, profit, planet. It's more and more now. We're not just thinking about today, we have to think about tomorrow as well. And I think, we at Coaching Culture and many other fabulous organizations are starting to do something about it, which is wonderful.
It's so stunning. Why I'm so excited about this as well is this, if I join the dots of where we've gone so far, the power of coaching, more humans in the workplace, showing up as a whole human.
Yeah.
But also you spoke about that agency piece, which I think is so important. Right? If I think about DEI, I know that I've got a lot more privilege in the current system than someone that is black and male. That is just a sad situation that we're all in.
Yep.
But what I can be as that white male is realize that the current dominant system means that I can look out for, not be a savior, but go, hey, actually, Charles, I've not heard you in this meeting for the last hour. Like, have you got anything you'd like to add?
Absolutely.
Like, if we just, these are the little steps, I think, around things like DEI and coaching and organizational humanity that we can all do, can't we? Like, every one of us can do that.
Absolutely. And do you know what? We had a fabulous speaker at our conference, Nicole McGill-Higgins. I'm giving her a shout out. She's probably not listening to us today, but I'll definitely point her in the direction of listening. She talks about belonging, and actually this is about all of us feeling that we have a sense of belonging, and we know that's important, but actually that everybody's got a voice. And she talks about how diversity is inviting everybody to the dance, but inclusivity is about everybody dancing. So actually everybody having that part to play. You don't just kind of get somebody at a table because they are ticking some sort of D&I box. No, that's not the right thing to be doing. The right thing to be doing is everybody's voice matters, and that sense of belonging for all of us to have that space to bring our best selves. And let's be honest, having a more diverse group of people, you get so diverse thoughts and ideas and creativity. It's got to be the answer, which is brilliant. And it's great that we're moving forward in that space as well.
I love this so much. And again, let's get really like super, like where some people might be stuck is, this is all lovely, Gary, Jo, really fluffy, it's positive, it's human. But I've got this shareholder group that's absolutely on the back of my neck. I can share with you one example, and I'd love for you to chip in. Like within the company I'm in, I work within an extractive industry and I'm appreciative of my job. But we've still added 6 million in sales or 1.5 million over 3 years by just shifting our culture. Who was involved? What you spoke about? Who contributed to the ideas? Like 6 million in 3 years, Jo, within a 25 million business unit, and there was zero additional cost to anything apart from intention. Literally.
Well, that's it. That's it. I need that little quote, because when people still say to us, what's the ROI? It's that. It's the cultural shift. It's the great conversations. It's the being more human. It's the caring more. But it's not just about, it's not, I don't want ever people to think it's just fluffy, because there is nothing fluffy about building trust, which builds performance. That is not fluffy. That is humanity, and we're building a sustainable business for the future. And there's the performance, with that. So
this is my mic, and it's getting dropped quite a lot with Jo Wright today. You can't see me. It's like boom, 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 boom. Let's take a break for a second, because you've got so many comments coming in, and I'd love to just to reflect on those and appreciate those that are with us. And also, if anyone that's joining us, you've got a question for Jo, You want to ask her a question? I think I want to go right back up. It's so lovely. Whereas you've got so many comments. Yeah, it's a Jenny. Thanks for joining us. I can't believe you've got the 50, Jo. Most important point.
Favorite comment of the day. Thank you very much, Jenny Allen Smith.
Absolutely stunning. I want to pop down Joel just acknowledging, oh yeah, connection to the shadow there.
Yeah.
Showing vulnerability. I love that, Susie. Showing vulnerability develops trust. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That one for me is probably the most critical one that I've come across. So I did a podcast, which you may know, on vulnerability for 2.5 years. And the thing that came up for me in all of this is it's never, and I love your thoughts on this, I've never found vulnerability to be a repellent. It's always been an attraction. Someone always opens up. It's like a flower. It's like the flower opening. Would you agree, disagree, or build on that? Or?
I often ask some of my own podcast guests the question about vulnerability, and I point it a little bit more towards males, CEOs, like, okay, so let's talk about vulnerability. And I've had some really interesting thoughts and comments back about, actually, there's a few of them I've spoke to where they've held back on their vulnerability earlier in their career, and they've had feedback. We don't really know you. You're our leader and you're doing us a good job, but we don't really know you. Start opening up more and you'll get more back. And they found those critical career moments that have really unlocked so much within their team, the way they have then given more, they've got more back. So I've had a few fabulous conversations about vulnerability. And, even I think one of my team called me recently strong yet vulnerable, which I really it kind of is probably hitting the nail on the head there. Strong yet vulnerable, which means Jo doesn't mind showing emotions, and the emotions tend to be, if I'm getting so passionate about something, my voice can wobble, or I don't mind showing when I'm having not a great day. I don't mind people, I'll say, no, I'm not feeling it. And I don't mind saying that because I'm human, and we all are. And I expect it back from the team as well. I want them to let us know if they're not feeling it as well. And that's fine, because we're not robots.
Oh, love it. Rob has shared. Thanks for joining us, Rob. Organizations are so preoccupied with not breaking trust that they forget to build and strengthen it. Oh, #thoughts, Jo Wright.
Oh, wow. I love that, Rob. So they're focused on not breaking trust. So that makes me think, listening and knowing Rob, I'm kind of thinking that could be linked to focusing on processes and systems and kind of getting everything right, that actually they then possibly get things wrong because they're focusing on don't do this, don't do that, as opposed to do this, be yourselves. And there may be some levels of nervousness about when you're open and be yourself. What does that mean? But actually, Rob's an expert on trust, to be fair. And, he really does know his stuff on trust. So, yeah, he'll definitely be right and in that respect. But obviously, I focus on trying to get everyone to focus on building trust. And I think raising the awareness on trust, actually, because I think, Rob's right. People are focused on not building or not breaking trust, that therefore they've not built trust. But there's more and more organizations now absolutely focusing on trust. We did a whole conference, a virtual one in lockdown, on trust, how trust matters and building a culture of trust. And there was I think at its highest, there was about 400 people on the virtual conference, all wanting to know about building trust in an organization. Yet when we asked a lot of people, when we surveyed them, I can't remember the percentage, it was like 50% had trust as part of their organizational values. So there's still so much potential to go on focusing not only on not breaking trust, but on building trust.
And what I'm so excited about with this dialogue is that we're not being happy clappy, Jo. This is a business conversation, right? We're talking about we've both given examples of how we actually have better, healthier is the word I like to use, healthier organizations and structures where everybody can thrive, from the CEO, and I don't want to use that sort of top down, but everybody, no matter what their role is in the system, is able to come to work, enjoy themselves, make a contribution and go home to their family feeling safe and well and not burnt out. That doesn't seem to be such a big push, does it?
Absolutely not. I've got a phrase that I sort of started to wheel out a little bit more, and it is number of hours worked is no longer a badge of honor. Whereas definitely earlier in my career, it was, where you were sat in the office at 10:30 at night, and it was like, who's getting the pizzas delivered in, because we're so busy work, and actually that's not something to be proud of, because that can only, that's not sustainable. And at our conference, I shared that Accenture had done a survey in March of this year, so kind of mid-pandemic, and they surveyed over 9,000 people, and they found that 3 key things are going to be so important for the future of work. 1 is absolutely about hybrid working. 2 is about digital fluency, so really being able to communicate digitally and use the tools that we've all got being given to us. And I think at that point at the conference I presented that, and I think my technology broke and I didn't know what to do about it, which was quite funny, quite ironic, but typical Jo Wright. And then number 3 was leading with humanity, which I knew that one a whole lot better. So leading with humanity was number 3, and I just think you bring all those together, you've got something really powerful.
It's beautiful. And you know something, our mutual friend, I think pretty much role models all 3 of these, which is Mr. Perry Timms at PTHR. And I think it's a cracking point, Terry. Thanks for joining us, mate. Yeah, organisations don't trust anyone. It's only people that trust each other people. And I think that's a really, really lovely point, right? Because I can definitely in the past get a bit wrapped up in, I want to change the big system. There's all this stuff going on, but it is always people. It's always people. And I think that's almost like a really nice reminder Perry's given us there. Is like, don't get lost in the process and the system. Like, use it to make us connect better, to do great work.
Definitely, it can be enabled and encouraged. But at the end of the day, and I often say to people when they talk about coaching and conversations, I say, you don't need to go and ask the board's permission to go and have a conversation. So make it a better quality one. Make it a conversation that helps to build trust. You don't need to go and ask permission. Just go and have that conversation, because we're all having multiple conversations all day, every day.
This is really cool. Like, you've got like one of the biggest like audiences we've had on this show, right, Jo? So I'm going to put you on the spot. Like, you said,
no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Tell all of us something that you probably haven't told anybody else in like either ever or in recent times. What's something different? Tell, like, what's all of these amazing humans not know about you? Is there anything? You don't have to answer it. It's just in the moment.
Sure, that's put me under pressure to think, is this something funny? Because I've got loads of them I could share, but then I'll lose all those.
Tell us a funny, Jo.
Do you want something funny and that's not massively inspirational, but I'll probably always regret? Do you want me to tell you something funny about me?
Go for it. We'd love it.
It's not very work related, Gary, at all.
We're talking about humanity. Like, you don't feel you have to, but I think it's just a bit.
I will tell you something funny about me. So I thought I was doing some good, and I was doing some fundraising once very early on for charity. So I was doing good things. So I did a parachute jump because I thought I'd raise more money by doing something a bit more dangerous. And so that was all good. And I landed on the marquee for the Lakeland Rose Festival. I had the softest parachute landing ever, raised loads of money. I was only 17 at the time, but that's something people don't know about me. That's my little tell us 3 things about yourself. One of them's not true, and people like, that can't possibly be true. No, it is. So that kind of sums me up, really. That probably sums me up through and through.
By the way, I've never asked that question before. It felt intuitively a nice connection as we start to go to wrapping up, and I think that's just amazing. Like, I've even got the visual. I think that's stunning.
There were some lovely ladies showing off their prize roses underneath in the Rose Festival, and then suddenly they had Jo Wright land like Bridget Jones on some sort of marquee. So that's probably the most craziest thing that people don't know about me. But now I need to think of another thing in a pub quiz when people ask you 3 things about yourself.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
That sums me up.
Thanks for sharing. I say vulnerability role model. This is what Jo's doing. Absolutely amazing. You've just got so many comments here. I can't keep up. I want to stay present with you. So as we go into the last couple of minutes, is there anything that you haven't shared that is on your heart and mind that, as you've journeyed the last 29 minutes, is there anything else that's sort of clarified, come up anew for you, or just any sort of message you want to leave the people that are watching us or may watch us back?
I just think it is, let's all stop and reflect and think about how we can be better human beings at work. Take the time to pause, reflect, think it through. What am I doing that can help others today? What can I do different? How can I show up and be different? What is it that I need? This is National Anti-Bullying Week. This is the time to really start thinking positively about how can we be better at work. And I think it was said earlier about treating our colleagues like our family. What is that? How can you dial up your care, support, and love for others? We do a daily report, kind of what are our daily reflections here at Coaching Culture, what's worked, what conversations. And we got one on Friday that just said, have a great weekend, guys, love you all. That's what one of our teams said. And it's kind of that, how do you get more of that?
What else do I say? That's it, Jo. It's so amazing how we have this flowy, non-scripted conversation as our first ever discussion. And I hope I can't say thank you to everybody enough. We've got Perry, Joel, Marie, Jenny, Susie, Ian, Joel. Yeah, you've just got so many lovely human beings following your amazing work. And I just want to say I appreciate you. Thanks for sparing the time, for showing up so fully. And honestly, the reason this show exists is to invite people to show how they embody the work that they do. And I think you're just a brilliant example of that. So thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for the opportunity, Gav. Absolutely loved it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, afternoon, evening. And don't forget to follow Jo's work if you're not already following her. And join us next time on God knows where we'll be. So till then, take care, everyone.